So today we're doing the classic Italian meatball. Another thing, just like the bolognese that we did earlier in the series, 1,000 recipes, 1,000 variations. This is why I like this one the best. First thing we're going to do is we're going to preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Okay, so we're going to chop some fresh herbs. First we're going to take some fresh oregano, and then we're going to chop up about a tablespoon or so of fresh basil, and we're going to chop up about a quarter cup of fresh Italian parsley, and then the zest of 1 lemon. So we have our chopped herbs and we have our zested lemon here. The oregano has sat now for a little bit, so the smell of it is intense, and what we're looking for to add more flavor. So we have 2 pounds of ground chuck, 1 pound of ground pork. Ground chuck is probably the best meat for this because ground sirloin is a little too lean and you're just not going to get that flavor. Ground beef, on the other hand, is a little too fatty, so ground chuck is definitely what you want to go with. And now all we're going to do is just start adding our ingredients. So let's throw the herbs in and the lemon zest. And then we're going to add salt and pepper. Be generous with the salt because you do need some flavor. There's cheese in here which also has salt, but you have to add the salt and a little bit of pepper. Okay, so now this is the part of the recipe that you're going to see many variations of. So this is what I like the best, and people seem to like this the best. So what we're going to add is 1/3 of a cup of pecorino romano cheese, freshly grated. It's pretty intense. It's what you're looking for. It's going to really differentiate this to like a meatloaf. This is where you really get the big differences. Now we're going to add 1 egg. Okay, so now we're going to add the white part of, you could just get a couple slices of bread. You want to take the crust off. If you have a hoagie roll or something like that, just break it by hand. This, we just want to kind of throw it in there. A lot of people will make you soak it in milk, but I like to see when you cut the meatball, the pieces of the bread in there just a little bit. So we are going to add the milk. So we're going to add a 1/2 cup of whole milk. This is basically going to make the meatballs, help make them moist. And then we're going to add some homemade breadcrumb. And now we're going to add 1/4 cup of whole milk ricotta cheese. It'll lighten the meatballs a little bit. They're going to have a little pinkish color to them because of the ricotta. So we're going to add a little olive oil to a pan, very little. And we're going to put about 1/2 an onion, rough chopped, and we're going to sweat this onion. We're not going to brown it, we're just going to sweat it. Okay, we'll just add a little salt to help bring that moisture out. Okay, so the onions are almost sweated. We're going to add just a clove or 2 of garlic, chopped, and we're just going to saute this just until you could start to smell the garlic. This isn't going to take long, only a minute or 2 after you add the garlic, because it's going to, oh, and I'm smelling it already. So this is where we want it, right about here. Okay, so we're going to add the sweated half chopped onion with a little bit of garlic in it to the meatball mixture. Okay, so we added to it. Now we're just going to wait till it cools a little bit, and we're going to start mixing. So now we're going to just start to mix. This is not going to take long to incorporate all this together. You're going to have to tell by feel. Every time you do this, you're going to feel what you're looking for in the meatball. So there's a little trial and error the first couple times, but all the flavors are in there. They're going to be great any way you look at it. It's just you'll be able to tell in time with experience how you want your meatballs to come out. As I smell this, I want to smell a little more cheese and the pecorino romano. is going to give us that really cheesy smell. So we're going to add a little bit to it. Okay, so everything is incorporated, and I think we have about the right feel of what we want. So we have a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and oven is heated to 400 degrees. So now we're just going to start to roll the meatballs. You want to get a little water in your hands, this way the meat won't stick to it so much. As far as size go, you kind of just want bigger than a golf ball and smaller than a tennis ball. And you just kind of roll. You're not gonna put too much pressure on. You're just trying to form the meatball. So you'll see everything in there. You'll see the onion, the cheese, and you want to just try to have them all about the same size. You're using a really good ground chuck. You're using a good ground pork. You're using it's all about the ingredients. Okay, so we're done rolling them out. We'll sprinkle a little bit of Romano cheese right on top, and we will pop these in the oven at 400 for just about 20 minutes. We just want to cook these through. We're basically where they keep their form. The big thing is, do you fry or do you bake? So if you bake them in the oven, they're not going to be as bad for you. And the difference in taste is marginal because they're going to cook in the sauce anyway. So this is the easiest way, easiest cleanup. So we're going to pop these in the oven now. So it's just about 20 minutes. So we are just going to set them here, and we're just going to let them just set for a few minutes, and we're going to add them to the sauce. Now the sauce, that's a whole nother story, and we'll get into making that, but whatever sauce you have, it's fine, you can add them to it. Okay, so now we're just going to start to place them into the sauce. And we're going to cook them we're going to simmer these for about an hour. Now, basically, the longer you simmer these, the more it's going to incorporate the flavor of the sauce. So the one thing you just definitely want to do is make sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom of the pot. So that's why we're cooking this at a very low heat. And so just take your time and just bring it up to temperature. And again, the longer these meatballs are in there, the better they're going to be. So here we are. It's been about an hour and a half. Here's our meatballs, so we're just going to cut one open. Perfect.